Keep in mind, my friends, Republicans control all three branches of government, including both chambers of Congress, but somehow, none of this is their fault.
The Democrats should know that they put the White House and the president in this position. And if they don't want further harm on their constituents back home, then they need to reopen the government. It's very simple.
What looked like a routine late-night monologue quickly turned into something far more uncomfortable for the White House. That night, Stephen Colbert did not simply make a joke and move on. Instead, he slowed the story down, lined up the administration's own words side by side, and let viewers watch the contradictions unfold in real time. That approach hit harder than a typical comedy bit. It was not just laughter, it was recognition. And once that recognition settled in, Donald Trump seemed to realize the problem immediately. This was no longer about a single joke, a single briefing, or one awkward answer. It was about a pattern, and patterns become dangerous when millions of people suddenly see them all at once. The spark came after Karoline Leavitt stepped to the podium again to smooth over comment.
And President Trump does not make these decisions in a vacuum. This decision to launch this operation was based on a cumulative effect of various direct threats that Iran posed to the United States of America, and the president's feeling based on fact that Iran does pose an imminent and direct threat to the United States of America based on the fact.
She delivered the explanation with speed and polished confidence, saying the president had been joking, critics were twisting his meaning, and reporters were focusing on the wrong story. On paper, it sounded like another routine cleanup operation, but Colbert understood something important. Those moments only work when nobody replays them slowly. That night, he did exactly that. He rolled the footage, repeated her defense, and stacked it beside Trump's original remarks, letting the contrast speak for itself. At first, the audience laughed because comedy naturally releases tension. But as the segment continued, the laughter shifted. Colbert was not just tossing out quick jokes, he was building a case. He showed how the same explanation kept appearing whenever Trump said something explosive or difficult to defend. The phrase "he was joking" began to sound less like clarification and more like an emergency exit. Then he delivered the line that lit the room up. If every controversial statement becomes a joke only after backlash starts, the only people not laughing are the ones sent out to explain it. The audience erupted. But underneath the
sticking point of the shutdown negotiations has been health care. The Democrats want to restore some of the Affordable Care Act benefits the Republicans cut earlier this year in the big, beautiful bill. Or, as the Republicans describe it,
they want to give taxpayer-funded health care benefits to illegal aliens.
That was the moment the segment stopped feeling like entertainment and started feeling like exposure. Leavitt, at just 27, had already made history as the youngest White House press secretary, but that history also placed her directly in the spotlight. Colbert leaned into that contrast, framing her not as the source of chaos, but as the person sent out to stand in front of it and make it sound normal. That framing landed because it made the situation feel less like strategy and more like strain. Trump created the headlines. She carried the explanations. Then Colbert pushed the segment further. He replayed several moments in a row. Leavitt insisting something had been misunderstood, Trump saying something else entirely, the White House trying to pivot, and Trump pulling the same controversy back into the spotlight. It was not one mistake, it was a cycle. Colbert did not need secret files or hidden recordings. He only needed the replay button. Once the pattern appeared clearly, every denial looked thinner, and every explanation sounded more defensive. By the time the segment ended, clips were already spreading across social media. Viewers shared not just the jokes, but the structure of the argument. Many said Colbert had done what official briefings often failed to do. He made the contradictions simple enough for ordinary people to follow. That may explain why Trump's reaction appeared so sharp. He has often fought headlines and criticized reporters, but satire creates a different challenge. It reaches people who are not watching to be persuaded and turns repetition into memory. Once a joke becomes the frame, every angry response can make it travel even farther.